Your content strategy will dictate whether you succeed or fail in growing your audience and sales with social media. Let's dive into how to lay out your content strategy for your brand. My strategy, and the one I recommend, is to post long form content weekly or bi-weekly and post short form daily or nearly daily. Always end with a clear next step: follow you, subscribe, or book a call. And remember, consistency beats perfection. Show up, solve problems, and repeat. Let's lay out the fundamentals of your content strategy now. You need a short form strategy with TikTok, Reels, YouTube Shorts. These will be hook driven to get attention. So we're looking at quick tips, myth busting, behind the scenes, and client transformations. The goal here is to get visibility and trust building at scale. Next is your long form strategy. This would be primarily YouTube, potentially podcasts and blogs also. Here you go deeper on problems your ideal client faces, demonstrate expertise, answer objections, and nurture warmer leads. The flywheel is then repurposing your long form content into multiple short form clips. To summarize the strategy in a single phrase, short form drives discovery, long form drives conversions. Here's the strategy in action. I've created a long form piece of content on YouTube called the top 16 niches on YouTube. That is 4 minutes and 30 seconds long. Now I can then chop that up into 16 short form videos. Here's an example here, which is health, wealth, and happiness. Because I recorded that video in 16 separate tips, I can then chop up that video into 16 different short form pieces of content. Here's an example here. So one of the niches was health, wealth, and happiness. You can see it makes life really easy because I've got one 5-minute video that's given me over 2 weeks of short form content that I can post daily. A critical part of your content strategy that very few people talk about is the 5 stages of awareness and how that maps to the products and services you're selling. The first stage of awareness is unaware. People don't know they have a problem. Next, they become problem aware. People know they have a problem. Then solution aware. People know solutions exists. Then product aware. People know your product exists. And then most aware. People know the benefits of your product. What you need to do with your content then is produce content for each of those 5 stages of awareness. Let's go into some examples. Stage 1, the unaware stage. Here the goal is to interrupt and spark curiosity. They don't know they have a problem yet. Here we can use relatable day-in-the-life content that surfaces pain points indirectly. Entertaining viral hooks that make them think, wait, that's me. Pattern interrupt content, memes and trends. POV videos showing frustrations they haven't articulated. Stage 2, problem aware. Here the goal is to agitate the problem and validate their frustration. Why you are struggling with X, and then explainers. Myth-busting content. The real reason you can't videos. Before-after transformations that highlight the gap. Stage 3, solution aware. Here the goal is to educate on different approaches and position your category. Comparison videos, X versus Y approach, how-to tutorials showing the type of solution, case studies and breakdowns, what nobody tells you about content. Stage 4, product aware. Here the goal is to differentiate your specific solution and build trust. Example content could be product demos and walkthroughs, behind the scenes of how it works, customer testimonials and results, deep dive features and use cases, webinars and live Q&As. The final stage is most aware. Here, the goal is to remind, reassure, and prompt action. Examples of content could be limited time offers and urgency hooks, quick testimonials, social proof snippets. Here's what you get recaps, direct call to actions, and reminder content. Let's compare services versus products. Services are invisible. You can't photograph a coaching session or unbox a consultation. Content makes your expertise tangible. Remember, trust before transactions. Service purchases are high trust decisions. Content builds that trust at scale. You need to understand, you need to demonstrate before you sell. Every piece of content is a free sample of your thinking and expertise. The huge advantage of organic over paid is paid ads stop when you stop paying. Organic content compounds. A video posted today can generate leads for years. You're building an asset, not renting attention. Let's quickly break down the advantages of all the social channels. YouTube long form is great for building trust and SEO discovery. People are actually searching for solutions. YouTube Shorts is great for channel growth. Instagram is great for building relationships and direct message conversations. TikTok is great for viral reach and getting to new audiences. Remember, the flow is long form builds authority, Shorts drive subscribers, Instagram nurtures, TikTok expands reach. Here's a quick framework for your YouTube long form content. Content types can be how-to tutorials that solve specific problems, case studies that show client transformations, industry insights that position you as a thought leader, process breakdowns, how I do X, Q&A, FAQ, answer common questions. Remember, on YouTube, people are searching for solutions, so you need to optimize your titles. You would have a keyword typically plus a benefit plus curiosity. With your thumbnail, you would have your face plus an emotion plus 3 words maximum. Then in your description, the first 150 characters matter most. The ideal video length for YouTube long-form content is 8 to 15 minutes. Long enough for depth and building connection, and short enough for retention. Posting cadence is how often you post. Post 1 to 2 videos per week. That's sustainable. Consistency beats frequency. Pick a schedule that you can maintain for 12 months. Next is your YouTube short strategy. The purpose here is to drive viewers into your long form content and keep subscribers engaged between uploads. The format is under 60 seconds in length, vertical 9:16 format, hook in the first, second, text on screen. Shorts content ideas. Get clips from your long form content, the best 30-second moments, quick tips, 1 actionable insights, myth busting, stop doing X, do Y instead, behind the scenes, day in the life clips, trending sounds, industry take on viral audio. You want to create a bridge between your short form and long form content. In your shorts, you can say, I break this down completely in my full video, link in description, or pin a comment directing to your long form content. Posting frequency, I recommend getting to daily uploads. Shorts can be low effort if you batch them from long form. Volume matters here. Next is your Instagram strategy. A content mix that I think works well is 40% reels to reach new audiences, 30% carousels, 20% stories, and 10% static posts. You should be posting at least once a day. Some of the most prolific creators are posting between 3 and 7 times a day. They're mixing behind the scenes, polls, Q&A, reposts, personal moments, stories that build relationships that make people buy. Instagram's role in your business is where followers become fans. It's your relationship platform. It's less about reach, more about depth. With Instagram, we really want to be having direct conversations and turning those conversations into meetings and sales. Uploading to TikTok seems like a no-brainer if you've already created your shorts. Just bear in mind you may not find as many purchases on TikTok versus other platforms which have an older audience. Content that works on TikTok: hot takes, contrarian industry opinions, client wins, failures and lessons, quick tutorials, 30-second how-tos, a day in the life behind your service, trend participation, sounds with your spin. Think of TikTok as top of funnel content for people who are unaware of who you are. TikTok rewards volume. Don't be afraid to post between 1 and 3 times a day. And remember to cross promote from one channel to another. So say I go deeper on YouTube, or follow me on Instagram for daily tips. Here's your repurposing workflow and the workflow that I use. Step 1 is create your YouTube long form content from 8 to 15 minutes long. Then extract your clips. If you've done top 10 lists, then you've got 10 natural clips. Just remember to make sure you record them in a way that they can be easily cut up. You then got to reformat those long form videos from landscape to portrait and add captions. Captions are important because many people have their phones on mute when they're scrolling through social media. In your YouTube shorts, remember to link back to the full video. With Instagram, potentially you add trending audio. Once you've reformatted it into 9:16 for the shorts platforms, you can then upload to YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. The maths is simple. You create one long form content, and from that, you can have 15 to 30 short form pieces of content. To get great results from social media, you really need a content and production schedule. For example, on Monday, I would publish my YouTube long form content and potentially one clip from that. Then on Tuesday, I post more shorts clips and engage in the comments if people are already commenting. Then on Wednesday, I reply to my direct messages and post more clips. Thursday, I maybe publish another long form video if I've had time to create two, post more shorts. On Friday, I post more short clips from my first long form video or my second long form video. And then on the weekend, I need to start thinking about what I'm going to produce for the next week ahead. Let's wrap up some actions for you for your content strategy. So you need to define your 3 content pillars that represent your brand. You need to set up your YouTube channel with your branded banner. Script and film your first long form video. Extract 3 to 5 clips for your shorts and reels and TikTok. Post consistently for 7 days across all platforms. And commit to daily stories on Instagram. I don't believe you achieve anything without goals. Here's your 90-day goal. Produce 12 YouTube videos, 60 plus shorts, establish a posting rhythm, and get your first inbound leads from content.